Clark thought about it. Good close out by Kawir. 5 seconds. Clark driving, blocked by Kawir.
You know, you hear one of your players is being mentioned in a letter from members of Congress to the commissioner of the league. You know, how do you handle that?
Again, that's not something we can control. We're not affiliated with those groups, and we try to keep the main thing, and focus on the things that we can control.
Stephanie White was seen doing this on the sideline while Caitlin Clark tried to make a layup for Indiana Fever. Cameras caught her clear as day, not clapping, not calling out instructions, not doing any of the things a head coach is supposed to do when her franchise player is fighting through contact at the rim. Instead, White throws her hands down toward the ground, almost like she's mocking the whole attempt.
Bro, did y'all see this last night? Boy, this was hilarious last night. So look at this picture right here. This is Stephanie White. Stephanie White was, boy, I tell you, Caitlin Clark probably drives Stephanie White up the wall, boy. So this is Stephanie White. I saw this last night. And
once fans slowed the footage down and started passing it around, it became pretty obvious this wasn't just a random reaction to a missed shot. It looked like she was making a point, and not a supportive one. Within hours, the clip was everywhere, cut into slow motion, zoomed in, captioned with everything from confusion to outright frustration on behalf of Fever fans who couldn't understand why their head coach was reacting like this toward the one player who's been holding this whole roster together.
I want to work, y'all. Never.
Indiana has been rolling.
Because this narcissist over here will not get out of their own way. Listen, I love when the fans boo Stephanie White, because I've been telling y'all since the beginning of the season. When it comes to coaching, especially for the MVP, Caitlin Clark, the face of the league, she's trash. We all see the biases with Stephanie White. When those fans booed, the fans did the right thing. Don't stop there. Because when you do stuff like that and then you stop, what you accomplished only lasts for a game or two. And then we go.
Think about that for a second. This is the same coach who's supposed to be building up her locker room, supposed to be the steady hand every player looks to when a game gets chippy or the shots stop falling. Instead of encouraging her best scorer through a tough possession, she's caught on camera basically imitating the miss, throwing her arms down like she's saying, "Come on, that's not it." So instead of being supportive, she's mocking Caitlin Clark, the same player who has carried Indiana Fever's offense pretty much by herself throughout the entire season. Crazy, right? You would think a coach reacts like that toward a struggling role player having a rough stretch off the bench, not toward the one player who single-handedly keeps this team relevant on national television every single week. And the timing makes it worse because this happened during a live possession in front of a packed arena and a national broadcast audience, not in some private film session where a coach might vent frustration behind closed doors.
Does it change the way you coach the game? You ever notice that in third quarter, fourth quarter? Does it ever impact the way you coach?
The fans?
Just the atmosphere, the voice that you have to project, any of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only time it really does is sometimes in timeouts. You know, really making sure that we get tight and we get in there and making sure that we can project that. I mean, look, when they're on the other end, they act like they don't hear me anyway. Like I'm used to that. So, I was a player too. I did the same thing. No, I mean, I do think, I think that you got to have some signals. You got to have some awareness in dead ball situations of looking over if we're going to try to make some adjustments.
And this isn't a one-time thing either. We've seen this play out in several other games too. Stephanie White arguing with Caitlin Clark on the sideline instead of pulling her aside quietly and talking things through like coaches usually do with their franchise cornerstone. Back in May, cameras caught White seemingly confronting Clark directly during a blowout loss to Portland, pulling her from the game early and subbing in a rookie guard while Clark stood there visibly frustrated, shaking her head, arms raised in disbelief. Teammates had to step in just to calm the mood down on the bench before things escalated any further in front of everyone watching. That's not coaching in the heat of competition. That's a coach picking a fight with her franchise player in front of a national audience. And it set the tone for a pattern that's followed this team around ever since. White later called it coaching, saying she was simply challenging a player to be better and holding her to a higher standard than everyone else on the roster. Fine, coaches challenge players all the time, and accountability matters at every level of the game. But there's a difference between pulling someone aside after a timeout and having a calm word away from the cameras, and publicly hooking your best player mid-possession while she's still trying to process what just happened on the floor in real time. When Clark was asked about it afterward, she brushed it off as two competitive people wanting to win. Nothing more, nothing less. She defended her coach without hesitation. That's the kind of loyalty a franchise player shows even when the optics are working against her. And it says a lot about Clark's character that she took the high road instead of throwing her coach under the bus in front of the cameras when she easily could have.
Yeah, she intentionally seeked out the official.
That's backwards to them. Did you know they were there in that moment?
And through the forearm. That too.
Did you know they were there?
No. It's really bad.
A different explanation in video?
No, that's
It
what I
was
was
the
told.
same
That's what I was told, yeah.
Did your tech for the argument?
My tech was for saying that, even though I heard the F-bomb the whole game. My tech was for saying that. Like, that's a bad call. That's a bad call. Incidental contact when you're flying out of control, like on it. And I thought her teammates should have come up and talked to her about that as well. Like, I think that's really bad. That happens all the time in the game. Officials have to have some awareness in those moments, and it didn't happen.
Presume you plan to appeal that one.
Yes.
It's already a deal.
But loyalty only goes one way here. And that's the real problem running through all of this. Because it's not just missed layups that get this kind of reaction. We've seen Stephanie White fail to fully back Caitlin Clark after some genuinely rough fouls this season too, moments where a coach's first instinct should be protecting her player, not staying quiet. There was a stretch where Clark picked up a technical foul for simply making contact with an official while trying to argue a call. A call that was eventually rescinded on review once the league actually looked at it properly. And instead of coming out swinging in defense of her star in the moment it happened, White's public response was measured at best, almost hesitant. Compare that energy to how quickly some coaches around this league jump in front of a camera the second their star gets touched wrong or officiated unfairly, and the gap in urgency becomes pretty noticeable to anyone paying attention.
Defense. Yes, sir. Push it. Sophie with the lay. Oh, shoot. Bruh. Uh-oh. Oh. Wow. She ain't like that at all. Bro, I need to see a replay, but that was a hard foul. All right. Across the face. Oh, shoot. What? That's almost a clothesline in the air. She didn't come close to hitting hand or ball. That's 100%. That could have been a way worse situation. Like, look at that. Come on now. Look at her leg. Like, she could have really got hurt. Yeah. Sophie wasn't thinking about fighting. Like, let's be real. She wasn't really finna fight. She wasn't making that. She wasn't finna make that move.
Has been upgraded to a flagrant foul, penalty 2.
Yeah. I'm like, if this ain't a flagrant 2, why is she looking shocked? Why is she looking shocked?
And it's not just Clark who's noticed this pattern building over the course of the season. Sophie Cunningham has dealt with the exact same thing. When Dijonai Carrington hit Cunningham with a flagrant 2 foul that got her ejected on the spot, a hit that plenty of analysts called dangerous and unnecessary, White's initial reaction after the game wasn't outrage on behalf of her own player.
I mean, look, it was a hard foul. I don't think that Dejanay intentionally came out to get her across the neck like she did. But it did happen, and I thought it was the right call. But, one of the things about Nay is that she's going to play her butt off, man. She's going to compete. Nobody's going to go walking in for a layup. And so I don't oppose the hard foul. But I also don't think that she intentionally went for the neck.
She actually said she didn't think Carrington intentionally went for Cunningham's neck, and that Carrington was just going to play her butt off out there, essentially defending the opponent before defending her own roster. Cunningham herself pointed out afterward that White hadn't even seen the replay clearly before making that comment publicly. Imagine getting hit that hard on national television and hearing your own coach explain away the player who did it to you before she's even bothered to watch the footage properly first.
Health and wellness, our player safety is always a top priority for me. One of the things I pride myself on is my relationships with players. I thought the play got called right. Thankfully, Sophie's okay. Was it egregious? Absolutely. When you have a chance to watch that over and over and over on replay, you can see that. I didn't have that in real time. The hate, the fear-mongering, the divisiveness, the stuff that's trying to hijack our league will not win. It won't win. We are united. We are connected. We will not be divided. Every day these women put their on the line. Every day. When they go low, we go high. Love will win. Grace will win. Humility will win. And kindness will win. I stand by them. I will always stand by them. Everybody else can go to hell.
To be fair, White walked some of that back a few days later once the backlash started piling up online. After watching the replay over and over, she came out and called the foul on Cunningham egregious, using much stronger language than her original reaction, and delivered a passionate speech defending her relationship with her players, saying she rides with them 10 toes down through everything, win or lose. She talked about love winning, grace winning, and told critics who doubted her commitment to essentially move on and stop questioning her character. That's a strong statement, and it deserves to be acknowledged fully instead of dismissed outright. But here's the thing, a fiery press conference days later doesn't erase what happened in real time. In the actual moment her player needed her most and got hesitation instead of full support. The instinct in the moment is usually the most honest one, and in the moment, White downplayed it.
Really good job of finding a way. Okay, really good job of finding a way. We started to expand that fist, and then we came back together. All right, that was really good stuff. Now, we know we got a lot of stuff we got to work on, right? We know that. But being able to come away and withstand what we withstood in that run, and to be able to pull together, get some key stops, shot seed. Yeah, hell yeah. It wasn't pretty, okay? It wasn't pretty. We still got room for growth, a lot of room for growth, but great job getting the W on the road. You got that 3, 1, 2, 3.
Now, if we're being honest, let's just keep real. We can tell that play was drawn up for Kelsey Mitchell, man. It's just, which is silly, bro. And it's like y'all keep forcing it. They would rather lose a game if they can force it to Kelsey, and we can lose or win by the hands of Kelsey Mitchell. And that's why our team looked the way it has been looking this game.
So look at the pattern building here across an entire season of basketball. Instead of being fully present for her players in the moments that actually matter most, whether that's a hard foul, a tough missed shot, or a heated exchange on the sideline in front of thousands of fans, Stephanie White keeps ending up on the wrong side of these viral clips over and over again. And little moments like this add up fast in a locker room, faster than most outsiders realize. Players notice when the person running the show reacts to a missed layup by throwing her hands down like she's disgusted, instead of clapping and getting her player back on defense with confidence and encouragement. That kind of body language spreads through a roster quietly. It's not loud, it's not a screaming match caught on a hot mic, but it chips away at morale one small reaction at a time, and everybody on that bench sees it happen in real time, even if the cameras only catch it occasionally during broadcast.
During the game, Caitlin got honored as the WNBA Player of the Year in the ESPYs. Just what does it mean to have her impact so far? I mean, there are a lot of really good players in this league, and she got honored as the best player in the league by the ESPYs.
Yeah, I mean, obviously she continues to get new awards. She continues to break barriers. She continues to do things that we haven't seen before. I mean, you know, obviously you think about the Stewie's MVPs of the league, and you know, championship winners, and Asia's MVPs of the league and championship winners, and of course Sue Bird, who's sitting, you know, in the building today. And you know, Caitlin is so fortunate, as well as all these guys, really. I mean, that they don't know anything any different than the WNBA. Right, like they've seen their idols play. They work their asses off to get to where they are and to be able to be honored, whether it's the ESPYs or whether it's league awards or whether it's All-Star or whatever. I just think they continue to then lead the way for the other young players that are.
Because here's what makes this whole situation even harder to make sense of when you step back and look at the full picture. Caitlin Clark has been the best player on Indiana Fever all season long, full stop, no real argument to be made otherwise. She's the one drawing sellout crowds on the road, the one moving the needle for TV ratings every single time her name is on the schedule regardless of opponent, the one who keeps this team competitive on nights when the rest of the roster isn't clicking offensively. She's dealt with a level of physical play and officiating scrutiny that most players in this league never have to think about across an entire career, and she's kept showing up anyway, night after night, carrying an offense that leans on her more heavily than almost any other player leans on their team in the entire sport right now. And this, somehow, is how she gets treated by the person who's supposed to be fully in her corner every single possession of every single game.
Stephanie White, Caitlin Clark, little interaction here that seems like Caitlin Clark wasn't too happy with whatever was going on between her and the coaching staff tonight. You got Stephanie White doing the yapping that she does. Caitlin Clark doesn't want to hear it. Physically cringing. Look at this. Physically cringing. Looking physically ill. Looking physically ill. Physically ill by whatever Stephanie White's saying. Like, damn, I'm tired of hearing this. But hey. Trying to run away. Stephanie White says, no, get over here. Get over here, Cece. Let me talk to you. Don't you walk away from me. Yeah, I'm walking away.
So picture this from Clark's side for a second, because it's worth actually sitting with. She's out there fighting through contact, trying to make a play at the rim, doing exactly what a franchise player is supposed to do for her team in a tight moment. And then she gets back to the locker room after the game. Somebody sends her the footage that's already circulating online, and she sees her own head coach on the sideline throwing her hands down like she's mocking the attempt instead of clapping her back up and getting her ready for the next possession. What is she supposed to think in that moment, watching that clip on her own phone? That's not the reaction of someone who has her back unconditionally through the ups and downs of a long season. That's the reaction of someone acting more like a frustrated fan in the stands than a head coach standing beside her best player through adversity.
Stop. Fever fans, Caitlin fans, this will never work. Them two being together will never work. If you feel like it will, then you need to stop being delusional. You need to stop being oblivious and all the other things, because it's not. And the main reason it's not is because Stephanie White has all the characteristics of a narcissist. She can clearly see, I need to go right because will get me to where I need to go. But say, nah, I'm gonna go left. I'm gonna go this way. Like, it makes no sense. Fans, it's okay. You don't have to keep being nice when somebody else is not being nice. And
the pattern is what makes this so hard to brush off as a coincidence. This isn't an isolated clip taken out of context one single time. It's the Portland sideline confrontation back in May. It's the muted, hesitant response to Clark's technical foul situation that got overturned on review. It's the initial defense of the player who hit Cunningham with a flagrant foul before backtracking publicly days later once the criticism piled up. And now it's this sideline moment. And that pattern matters more than a lot of people give it credit for, because morale in a locker room isn't built during easy blowout wins when everybody's smiling anyway. It's built in exactly these moments instead. The missed layup, the hard foul, the frustrating loss on the road. Those are the moments where a player actually finds out whether their coach is genuinely in their corner or not, when the cameras aren't necessarily rolling and nobody's expecting a big reaction either way. If Caitlin Clark, the best player on this roster by a wide and honestly obvious margin, keeps getting sideline reactions like this instead of support and encouragement, it sends a quiet message to literally everyone else sitting on that bench too. If she's not fully protected after everything she's already done for this franchise this season, what does that actually say about how everybody else on the roster gets treated on a rough night when the cameras aren't focused on them specifically?
Stephanie White, I've been a defender, the coach of the Fever. Get her out of there. Get her out of there. Fire her ass today. I don't want her back on that bench. Stop defending the other players. Oh, she plays hard, DJ. That's just her being her. You see Caitlin in the press conference almost cover her ears and her eyes. Defend your players. First of all, you're wrong. It was a dirty play. She's gone. But when do you ever see in like the NBA a coach not defend their own players? She hasn't done it with Caitlin when Caitlin got punched in the throat. She didn't do it. I don't care if you agree with it or not. You're wrong. But it starts to make me think you care more about the overlying social issues and not pissing off other people in the league and saying men can play league, because she's one of those players. Coaches, when asked, always is taking the far left side of it. This isn't politics. Your player got assaulted. Defend your player in the press conference. Be like, yeah, that was a dirty play. She should have hit the showers. She acts like she's the coach of the other team. I don't care if she's the best X's and O's when she's not. Get her the hell out of there. Either defend your players again.
There's also a bigger question worth asking here about what this does to team chemistry over the long run of a full season. Basketball is a game built on trust between players and coaches. The belief that when things go wrong on the floor, the response from the sideline is going to build you back up rather than tear you down further in front of everyone. When that trust gets shaken publicly, even in small moments, like a hands-down gesture during a missed layup, it doesn't just affect the player directly involved. It sends ripples through an entire locker room full of teammates who are all watching how their coach treats the person who's given the most to this franchise. Sophie Cunningham noticed it. Fans noticed it almost on nights when nothing else was working. And she's done it while defending her own coach publicly every single time reporters have tried to stir up a rift between them. The least she deserves in return, after all of that, is a coach who claps her up after a tough miss, instead of throwing her hands down like she's disappointed in her own franchise player. Whether Stephanie White meant it as genuine mockery or not in that specific moment, the footage speaks for itself once it's out there, and fans watching at home have already made up their minds about exactly what they saw happen on that sideline.